Your family comes from a pretty, not a typical family, right? I mean, it's a pretty dark past.
Yes.
Involved in a lot of different things. Talk to me about, your father, Anthony Sr., also known as Fat Andy, right? That was his name.
Yes, that was his nickname.
On the streets, and his nickname.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was one of the most infamous, notorious. I mean, people, when they talk about him, they say when you say gangster, you think of Fat Andy.
Without a doubt.
He's in the movie Goodfellas, yes?
Yes, he is.
What does his life start?
Well, his life started, I mean, in the neighborhood he grew up in, his father passed away. My grandfather passed away when he was 8 years old. So he was the youngest child out of 6. My grandmother had 16 children, but 8 passed away as infants back then, and 8 survived. So he was the 16th child she gave birth to. And when he was 8 years old, my grandfather was hit by a trolley car. He worked on trolley cars, and the trolley car ran him over, and he bled out in the train yard. So my father was 8. Yeah, in Brooklyn. Yeah, he worked for the transit. So my father at 8 years old had no father figure, and at the time in his neighborhood, the kids he was growing up with, their parents, their fathers were mobbed up. They were actually in Murders Incorporated. His friend Larry's father was the Dasher, and his friend Lenny's uncle was Happy Mayoni. So his father figures became these wise guys, these serious gangsters. I mean, everybody knows Murders Incorporated. I mean, that who's more famous than them? So that was his early childhood. And as he got older, he started getting in trouble. And then when he was drafted, towards the end of World War II, he was drafted into the army, and he went down south, and he got into a beef with his sergeant, and he stabbed the guy up, and he came back to Brooklyn, and he had gotten arrested, and he went to prison for being AWOL during the war.
So your grandfather, may he rest in peace, was he born in America, or he came?
No, he was born in Naples. He immigrated to America when he was about 21 years old. My grandmother was only like 15 when he married her. My grandmother was already in Brooklyn, and he married my grandmother. And then my father was when my father was born, they were both actually in their 40s. My grandfather and my grandmother. No, he was a legitimate guy. My grandfather, he immigrated from Naples, came over by himself, started a family, went to work for the transit authority, and he was a mechanic. He was a trolley car mechanic.
Could your father speak Italian?
It's funny that you asked that question, because my father couldn't speak it well, but he understood it fluently, and I used to always get a kick out of it. He would talk to somebody, and they would speak to him in Italian, and he would understand every word they were saying, but he would answer them back in mostly English. And he used to translate. He used to love Italian music, Mario Lanza and all these Italian singers, and he would listen to their music, and he would translate the songs to me. So he understood it fluently, but he struggled speaking it.